Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a new vlog coming for you. This week I'm doing something interesting where I'm going to be reading only blue books. I thought this would be an interesting idea because I have a lot of blue books on my TBR, which I did not realise, and I thought that it'd be something different other than just a simple reading vlog. At the moment we are in the middle of the owls, so some of these books are going to take priority over the others to make sure that they do match with my owls. However, I have got some additional extras for if I fancy it and if I think I have the time to fit them in. I have stretched this a little bit far. For example, the first book, it's not blue, but they have blue sprayed edges, which to me means it's blue. So I have really stretched this, but I wanted to read this book, so, I have in total 7 books. 4 of which I have to read because they are part of my owls, and then an additional 3 for if I really do fancy it and I think I have enough time, I'll read an additional 3. This isn't going to be a week-long vlog, this is going to be a 10-day vlog. So it is the 16th of April today. I'm going to be doing this till the 26th of April. The reason I've chosen 10 days instead of 2 weeks is because 2 weeks would take me to the end of the month, which isn't ideal because I have other books that I need to read that are not blue. I lied when I said 7 books. I actually have 8 because I have an arc that I need to read that's digital. So I have 8 books. 5 of which are essential, 3 are additional extras. That doesn't make sense. Yes, it does. Yes, 5 and 3. Oh my god. So first of all, I'm going to show you all the essential books, and then we'll go on to the non-essential books. First of all, we have Children of Virtue and Vengeance by Tomi Adeyemi, as I just showed you. Not blue, but does have blue sprayed edges. This is not part of my owls, however me and Paperback to Hardback on Twitter are buddy reading this, as we buddy read the first one last week. I will tag her down below. And so I really want to read this. The first one was a 5-star and was incredible, so I really can't wait to read this. I think I'm not going to give you a description on this because it is a sequel and it could spoil what happens in the first book for you. But if you haven't read this duology, well, it's not a duology, is it? Because it's going to be a series. If you haven't read this series, I highly suggest you do, because the first book was incredible and I'm so excited to get on with this one. Now getting on to the owls options. First of all, we have My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing. This is for my herbology prompt, so I do have to read this. I have actually no idea what it's about. Oh yes, I do. not really, but it's about a couple and they hold secrets. That is the synopsis, that is all I know. I don't want to know anymore. I find that very intriguing. I love a family thriller. It's not too big, it's like 300 odd pages, I think. Yeah, just under 400 pages, so this should be quite easy to get through. As long as it is interesting, maybe I'll binge it. I really hope these are really good books. I'm in the mood for a good book week. Not that you're ever not in the mood for a good book week, but I really just want some good books this week. The next book is Cinder by Marissa Meyer. This is going to fill my arithmancy prompt, so once again, is essential for the owls. I do need to read this. I know this is a very popular book, and I'm not into sci-fi at all. However, I am going in with an open mind. I'm not going in expecting this amazing hyped book, because I don't think it's for me, which could mean it will surprise me. I am really excited to give it a try, but my expectations are low, and that is probably the best thing I can do to go into this book. The next book is The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. This fits my Muggle Studies prompt. This is a very hyped romance. I have heard a lot about this, and romance is not my usual thing. However, the unique story of this, of them never meeting, it entices me. Obviously, with romances, you know they're going to end up together. Pretty much 99% of romances end with them being together and happy ever after and all that. Which I understand, it's a romance, that's the genre, I understand. And I don't hate it, but that's why I don't read a lot of them, is because they're all the same. So, I know I probably won't be able to give this a 5-star, because it'll probably just be middle of the road. But the interesting themes of they've never met and they don't meet for a long time, or ever, I don't know, is really interesting to me, and I think it makes a difference for once. The last book that I have to read is Feathertide. That fits the Defense Against the Dark Arts prompt, as it is set at the sea or coast. It is about a mermaid, and that is it. That is all I know. It has a blue cover, therefore I'm going to try and get it read this week. I think that is a pretty long book. It's almost 500 pages, so I want to get that done and dusted, especially as I really don't like reading books on my Kindle. Now moving on to the books that are not essential. So these are just optional extras that in 10 days, if I've read the five books I've just shown you, then I can move on to these if I choose to. The first one is actually Scarlet by Marissa Meyer, obviously the sequel to Cinder. I own them both, so hopefully if I liked Cinder, I will want to go on to this straight away. I know a lot of people probably just be like, bro, that's purple, not blue. Yeah, whatever, okay. It's a shade of blue. To me, that is blue. Don't come for me, I told you I stretched it. The next book is The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I've heard a lot about this and I have wanted to read this for so long. I just keep putting it off and I don't know why. And the final book I cannot believe I haven't read. It is The Diviners by Libba Bray. The chances of me getting to this are very slim. This is a big book. Like, how many pages is actually in this? Almost 600. So that is everything that I plan on reading in the next 10 days. I will keep you updated on how it is going, what I've achieved, if I actually get much done. The plan is actually to start right now. I'm going to read 10 chapters of Children of Virtue and Vengeance, because that is the deal with the buddy read. So I read 10 chapters a day. I don't think there's that many chapters. Oh, there's 89 chapters. Never mind, this will take us 9 days. So if I do this every day, reading the 10 chapters every day, I will just finish this in time for this vlog. That's possible. That is possible. So hopefully I'll finish this as long as I stick to the schedule. But I have a audiobook of Cinder and I think I would like to get that started today. So that is today's plans. I'll update you soon when I have made some progress. Still on day 1, and I thought I'd give you a quick update as to where I am. I'm not done for reading for the day, but I want to settle down into bed now, so I want to give you my update so far. I'm clearly tired because I can barely speak. I read my 10 chapters of Children of Virtue and Vengeance, so that is up to page 48. Good so far, really enjoyed those first 10 chapters. I also have read 10 chapters of Cinder. I am not finished with that for tonight though, I'm still going to continue. I'm on page 97. So I've read a good chunk of this. As I said, going to continue for the evening, maybe try and get to page 150 or something like that. But I'm really, really enjoying this so far. I was actually hooked from the first chapter, which I didn't expect because, as I said, this is not something I expected to like, but despite it being very sci-fi, I'm enjoying the story. I don't love that it's like a fairy tale retelling. However, we haven't really got into the retelling yet, and it seems very different to the story, so I feel like I can cope with that. But yeah, I'm not ready to put this down today, so I'm going to go and continue, and I will update you tomorrow, probably in the evening, maybe in the day, to tell you what I'm planning on reading. But I think it's just going to be a continuation of this all day. Hopefully finish this tomorrow. So please excuse my appearance, I look so scruffy, but it is midnight on day 2, so I thought I would tell you all the updates of today's reading. I didn't read any more of Cinder, oops, and I can't tell you where I got to last night after I said I was going to read more because it was on the audiobook, and I didn't update it in my physical book, but I did read a couple more chapters after I updated you yesterday. Couldn't tell you where to though. But the thing I started today was the flat share, and I got halfway in. I got to page 200 and something. I'm really, really enjoying this right now. Like, the moment, it's like a 5-star, but I am only halfway through. I am loving the romance in this. It seems so natural and lovable. But I did also read another 10 chapters of Children of Virtue and Vengeance, so I'm on page 97 of that. I am now debating a 24-hour readathon starts in like 6-7 minutes, and I'm debating doing it, not staying up, because I've been up since like 9 AM this morning. I don't plan on staying up for like 30, 48 hours. How long is that? I don't even know. I don't plan on staying up that long. I'm thinking about maybe doing it as part of like reading as much as I can for the next 24 hours, but I already plan on doing that in the first place. But like, I want to play Animal Crossing. Like, I feel like I'll be cheating if I'm doing a 24-hour readathon and playing Animal Crossing. Quick update on the, I think it's pronounced Raidathon. Raidathon? I don't know. It is 12:15. I've been up a couple of hours reading and I finished the flat share. I love this book. Oh my god, I love this book. This was so nice and wholesome. I understand why it was so hyped now, and it just gave me goosebumps all the way through, and I just was so happy reading it. God, look at my face. Just Yay. This was amazing. I want to read it again right now. Amazing. So I'm really sad that's over. But at least it was an easy read to get done and finished, and that's another book off my owls, and my first completed blue book of the next 10 days. Please excuse my appearance, it is 2 a.m. in the morning. We have finished the read-a-thon, I think that's how it's pronounced still, not sure. I got a bit of reading done, but Animal Crossing distracted me for most of it, and instead of using an audiobook I ended up speaking to my siblings on FaceTime, so wasn't even productive. But I do have some updates for today's books. I obviously read the 10 chapters of Children of Virtue and Vengeance, so that is done. We are on page 153 for this one. I finished The Flat Share, which are we shocked because I did not have very much of that left and I was obsessed. So this book was about Tiffy and Leon, who Tiffy has to move out of her ex-boyfriend's flat and she can't afford a flat on her own because London is expensive, whereas Leon can afford the rent in his own flat, so as he works night shifts and only needs the place during the day, he decides to let out the half of his flat and half of his bed to somebody to stay in during the night when he's in work, which works perfectly for Tiffy, who works in the day anyway. So they have this agreement, but they never meet, and then they keep leaving each other notes, which was really, really nice to read because they developed really gradually, which I absolutely loved. And they had such a good friendship before they even became friends, and when they finally met each other and discussed things, it constantly referenced back to the notes about how he would say, oh, she's a lot less chatty today than she usually is. Like, in her notes, she's always so bubbly. I wonder what's wrong with her today. And they didn't just dismiss the notes now that they knew each other. They still wrote them. They still thought about them, things like that. What I also loved was that, this isn't a spoiler because it's obvious. When you start, Leon has a girlfriend, and obviously this is a romance book. He is not going to stay with that girlfriend. It's not a spoiler, it's common sense, it's a romance. But the way that in these books, authors tend to really niggle me a little bit because they always end relationships in a really nasty, harmful, sad way, where usually like love interest will cheat on them or fall in love with them and then have to break up, whereas that wasn't the case in this book, and it was done really maturely, respectfully, and it made me appreciate the romance more and root for them a little bit more because nothing was done in a malicious or nasty way. The next book then that I decided to get stuck into was My Lovely Wife, which obviously is one of my essentials, part of the Owls, and I got a good chunk into this. I got to page 120. I got to page 120. Not what I expected so far. It does say in the front full of twists, and it is. I'm not hooked, like it's not my favourite thriller of all time straight away, like I'm not like completely hooked, but I am enjoying the read. I'm really enjoying the writing style of this book. I'm enjoying the plot twists. I'm enjoying the development of characters. I don't know yet if I really like the protagonist. We'll see. I like that so far it's been one POV because I feel like this book could have been two, and I'm not a big multiple POV fan. So the fact that this only has one so far is very appealing to me. It may have two, but I haven't seen that it has two, so I'm okay with it now. But yeah, I'm really hoping to get a lot more done of this tomorrow. Hopefully finish it tomorrow, but that might be a little bit ambitious. We'll see. So yeah, like 24-hour readathon, I didn't stay up, but I did partake in the 24-hour readathon. I tried to read as much as I could, and I think I was pretty successful, a book and a half. I'm getting way too comfortable looking shit in front of the camera, so we're gonna have to start nipping that in the bud. Or every video I ever make is just going to be me looking like this. I have today's update. I finished Cinder. I wasn't far into this, I was like 100 pages, and I just decided to spam it out today. It's a good thing I had the audiobook because there is no way I would have read this all physically had I not had the audiobook. I have given it a 2.5 stars. And the reason I've given it a 2.5 stars is because I can appreciate that it is a good book with a good storyline, but I did not enjoy this. I was bored out of my mind. The characters were so underdeveloped. I didn't care about any of them. I didn't like any of them. The romance was bleh. I've decided not to carry on with the series. And so I'm not going to be reading Scarlet this week. Even though it was on like a potential TBR, I did say if I liked the first book. Well, I didn't. And I have no regrets about that. It just wasn't my thing. I didn't actually hate the sci-fi part. I actually really enjoyed the fact that she was a robot and how that came into it. I really did enjoy that, or part robot. I thought that was really, really enjoyable. But the actual development of the story was just not for me. I can appreciate the good writing, and I did appreciate the good writing. It was very well written. I appreciated the details. I didn't read any more of My Lovely Wife, because after this I was like, I can't read anymore, I'm done. Success! I have finished My Lovely Wife. I have no idea what day this is. 16th, what is the date today? Is it the 20th? The 4th day? 5th day? 5th day? 5th? Just finished it like the 2nd, so my thoughts aren't very coherent. I'm not entirely sure how to digest this story. It was not what I expected. So this story just goes with the most basic of blurb that they are a couple with a dark secret. Now you find out in the first page, well, first like chapter, like this isn't a spoiler, that they have murdered somebody. That's their very dark secret. And they intend to do it again. And they have this like elaborate scheme. It turns them on to murder people. And it's the thing they do with each other. One plans the murder, one does the carrying out of the murder. This story is good. I enjoyed this story. I think it's going to be a 3-star. Maybe a 3.5, but then the ending was very abrupt, so maybe just a 3. Once we got to the action, which was like the last 50 pages of the book, was so much action. I was like, how are you going to fit this in? It was so much fun. It was exciting. I didn't see the plot twist coming, but I'm sure some of you would if you were avid thriller fans who've been reading thriller for a long time. I bet you'd guess it. But I didn't see that happening. Now, the ending, as I said, I wasn't sure how they were going to fit so much this massive action scene that always happens at the end of a thriller in. Well, they didn't. Was the answer to that? It finished mid-action scene. It just stopped, and I was like, "What? What's going to happen?" And then there was the epilogue, and it was 3 years later, and I was like, "Are you serious? I've waited this long for a bit of action, and you finished it mid-scene? Is this some sort of sick joke?" We're not happy about the situation. However, it was enjoyable. The last page is very ambiguous. I was hooked reading it. It was not a tedious read or anything like that. It was really, really enjoyable, which is why I think I'll give it a 3-star. I finally got makeup on. How happy are we? I finally don't look like a sloth in this video. Amazing. I needed to do a check-in about this book. So Children of Virtue and Vengeance, if you've seen my other videos, you'll know I read the first one last week, Children of Blood and Bone. I gave it a 5-star. It was absolutely incredible. Now it's going to be hard to talk about this one because it is a sequel and I don't want to give any spoilers away. So if you may be bothered by like even the smallest inklings to what this is, don't watch this bit. But I'm not going to give any direct spoilers. I'm just going to talk about the story. I am on page 265, which is chapter 54. The problems I'm having with this book in comparison to the old one are that the first book, there was so much character development. People who were evil or bad became good. People who were silly and childish became mature and lovable. And yet the character development was wild in that book, and I loved it. The relationship you had with the characters was intense, in depth, and The multiple POV thing, which I usually have an issue with, I did not have an issue with, and I loved. The issue we're having now is that this book has reversed pretty much all of that. One of the main characters has been sideswept as now a character's love interest. It's just, they're no longer a main character. They're just now used as like a prop for this person's love interest. Like, I don't understand why that's been done. They're barely mentioned in this book, and when they are, it's kind of a cop-out. It's kind of offensive, to be honest. The POVs are no longer likeable. Like, I don't like any of them. One of them is pointless and angers me and is boring. The other two are fine, but I no longer like any of the characters in this book. Not one character in this book do I like. They've become obnoxious, rude, infuriating. That this is one of those books where something happens that we know it's not how it seems, but the other characters don't know that and therefore jump to the conclusions and react, which can be great in books, but when it does it constantly, it is boring and I'm not interested. We also have the issue of the first book was very much a journey. This is where like mild spoilers come in. The first book was a journey, and this book where they were followed through the journey and it was constantly onwards. This book is a battle, which is on one-on-one, and it's constant retaliation. I'm over halfway through the book now, and we are having the same content that we had in the first 10 chapters. It's the same thing happening. I'm not sure what the plot is of this because nothing has happened. I understand what the overall goal is. Well, actually, no, I don't. I don't know what each character's fighting for. I have no idea because they all seem to change their minds every 2 minutes. The friends are no longer friends, but they suddenly are friends. They argue, but then they're fine with each other. I don't understand what's going on. I don't like anybody. I don't trust anybody. The writing style doesn't seem as beautiful in this, and I don't mean like the Night Circus or that wishy-washy type. I don't like that. But the writing in the first book was so nice. I have no other word for it. I just said the basic word of nice. And it was nice. It was well written. It was well thought out. And I really thought this book, it took a while to come out. I thought it was going to be a really well written, same narrative really. But it's not. It's disappointing. It's become something that feels rushed, and the point of the story is there, but the book still seems pointless because nothing's happened. I feel like you could have just made the first book 100 pages longer and put this in there. I have no desire to continue this, but I will. I will because I loved the first book and I need to know what happens. I would love to know if other people's opinions have differed. I am buddy reading this with Jade. She's having the similar issues. I don't think she's disliking it as much as I'm disliking it, but she is having issues. So it makes me feel good that I'm not alone, but I would like to know anybody's opinion who has read both books, and if your opinion differed so highly, but I just smacked myself in the face. If your opinions did differ this dramatically between each book. And yeah, I know there's a third book coming out, so now I'm intrigued to see how it ends. Is it going to end on another cliffhanger because the first book did, which is why I need to read this book? And if it is, will I bother with the third and final book? I don't know. All I can say is I'm here. This book is where I need to read to today. I'm here, and there's not a lot of the book left to improve. I read about 110 pages of Children of Virtue and Vengeance. My feelings have not changed. If anything, they've become more dramatic. I'm not enjoying the story. I am not happy about the characters. They're coming across as spoiled brats, and I'm really, really over it. There's only 75 pages left of this book, and my thoughts cannot change in that time. I have since had a look on Goodreads review because I don't do that because it'll influence my opinions. but I really felt like I was going crazy. So I did have a look at some Goodreads reviews, spoiler-free ones, and I did not realise how many people were disappointed by this sequel. A lot of people mentioned the character development being reversed. I'm glad I'm not the only one who picked up on that. The fact the characters are basically shitty people. Not once again, glad I'm not the only person that picked up on that. And the fact that the plot line is trash and not really that much happens. Which, it's so peculiar to say this after my rave of the first book. The first book I couldn't put down. I adored it. It was incredible. So I don't understand how this has happened. I think it has to be a 2-star. The 100 pages I read today were even worse than the first half of the book, so I think it has to be a 2-star. It's just ruined that first book, because I could never reread that first book again now without knowing what happens to those characters and how terrible they become. So the maturity they gain in that first book, they lose in this and they become immature children again. After my anger with that, I started reading Feathertide. I am reading this on my Kindle, so I don't quite know the exact page count, but I know that I'm 25% in, which, according to my calculations, is 108 pages. I think I'm done for the reading for a little bit, maybe the rest of the day. I'm not going to film another update if I do read any more. I'll just update you tomorrow. But I think I'm done reading for the day. With Feathertide, it is not what I expected so far. I thought it was about a mermaid, because that's what's on the cover, is a mermaid, but it's about a little girl who's been born and her mother works in a brothel, I think they're called, although the book keeps saying the word whore, and it's making me very uncomfortable because I don't like that word. So that's my first issue with it, is it says it every page, but it's about this daughter who's born to a lady in a brothel, and she lives there in secret because she has feathers growing out of her back, so she's a bird, half human. And so far she's just been stuck inside and she hasn't gone out to explore, and I've just finished it is now her 18th birthday, I think, 17th or 18th birthday, to go and explore the world. So that's not a spoiler, that is literally, I know it's 100 pages in, but that's what's happened, like that's what the book was about, the blurb tells you that. So I went back to the blurb on Goodreads and gave it a read, and it says that she goes on a hunt to find her father, who is a bird, but not in like a weird way, like the mum didn't sleep with a bird, he was also a bird man. So now she's going to go and hunt for her father, and it's already mentioned mermaids and how they're mythical and not real and it's all an illusion, and someone said to her, don't believe that, if you have to believe in magic for it to be real. And I think along the exploration to find her father, she's going to meet a mermaid. I think that's what's going to happen. Today is the day we finish Children of Virtue and Vengeance. I didn't read my 10 chapters yesterday, so I actually have 10 more chapters than I should to read. So I have 19 chapters to read today, which is 70 pages. So they're super short chapters. So we're going to finish this today. Thank God, because I am just really excited to get this over and done with, honestly. And then the update on Feathertide is I'm 40% in already. I would like to get to 50% today. I'm not going to be over ambitious, but I would like to get to 50%. So read 10% more of the book. I'm just trying to be realistic today because I really, really want to stop giving myself goals I can't achieve. Okay, so I think this will be the final update. I finished both my books, and even though it is only the 24th and I have like 2 days left till the challenge officially ends, I think I'm gonna cut it here. I finished this delightful book, and I just think I've spoken about this enough. I don't want to trash it anymore. I think I've been harsh enough. All I will say is that ending was even worse, and I've dropped it a star again. It is now a 1 star. I think what's upsetting me the most is, besides the fact it's not a good book, in my opinion. A lot of you will disagree, and I'm sure of it, but in my opinion, it's not a good book and it ruins the first book. And that is what makes me the angriest, is this ruins the first book, which is a great, great book, because it goes against everything the first book does, develops, progresses. It just takes it all away like nothing. It was a cliffhanger ending. However, as the review said that I read, it is anticlimactic, and it does not interest me to read the third one, and I don't know if I will. We will see when it comes out, and I think it's got a long time until it comes out, so I don't think I can tell if I will until then. But at the moment, if there was a third book, I wouldn't go and pick it up. I'm not happy. This was a pointless book. Nothing was resolved in this book at all. Nothing happened. Nothing was resolved. The only thing we did was go backwards to the beginning of the first book, so as if the first book was irrelevant as well. I'm just a little bit cheesed. But I'm going to leave it there because I know a lot of people love that book. That author is clearly a great author because that first book was so well done. This book was still beautifully written. It's just what she actually wrote wasn't well thought out, in my opinion. I know a lot of people are going to hate that, but I'm angry about it because I feel like it was done an injustice. But that is the end of that. The other book that I read was, I don't know why I keep showing you this as if it's going to tell you what it was because this is my Kindle, but Feather Tide, and I'm so torn on this book. I don't know whether I didn't like it or I loved it. I cannot tell. It was not what I expected. And there is no action in this book whatsoever. So please do not go into it thinking, ooh, an action book. No. There's none. But I loved that. Or did I? I don't know. I think I'm going to give it a 3-star because of my mixture of emotions. The first half of the book was a little bit like, oh, dragging, didn't think I was going to like it, was only really reading it because it was an arc. And I felt like it's my duty to read it because I requested it. And I'm really glad I completed it. The second half is just a lovely story. I think this would be an amazing children's story if you took away the more heavy romance parts and the constant use of certain words. As I said, they use the word whore a lot. I'm not a fan. They do discuss brothels a lot. It's based in a brothel at the beginning. I think if that was all gone, it would be a fabulous child story because it was beautiful. A mermaid does come into it, but not in the way I thought. But it is a really, really well written book. So now, because this video is so long, I'm just going to do a really, really quick wrap up of the books we read in the last 8 days, so a week. I have them all here. Which one did we start with? We started with Cinder. We didn't finish it first, but we started with Cinder. A 2-star book, one that I don't hate, I just didn't like. I can appreciate the well done writing. I can appreciate why a lot of people would love this storyline. It just didn't cut it for me, and that's okay. It's just not a series for me. I don't think there's anything bad about this book. It's just not my cup of tea. So don't let this video put you off reading this, because I actually think a lot of people are going to love this, and a lot of people do love this. So that was the first book. Sad it wasn't for me, but it was a good book. Next we have The Flatshare by Beth O'Leary. This book was the bomb. I want to reread it again. Anytime I'm in the need for some feels, I'm going to read this book. It was lovely. It was amazing. I love the characters. I love the romance. I love the friendships. I loved all the character development. Then we read My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing. I gave this a 3-star. It was a really good book. Domestic thriller with a twist, and I enjoyed it a lot. Really quick and easy read. I recommend to anybody who sees this out and about and likes a domestic thriller, give it a try. Then we have Children of Virtue and Vengeance, was a 1-star. We've all seen the rant, we don't need another one. Then we had Feather Tide, and that was a very confusing experience. A good book, I think. Probably a 3-star. So we had a 2-star, a 5-star, a 3-star, a 1-star, and a 3-star. So we had everything except for a 4-star. If you want me to do this again with like other coloured books or just reading books on my TBR, chill vlogs. I don't know. Let me know because I enjoyed doing this. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you're still here, like, subscribe, and do all those fun YouTube things. I will see you in the next video. Bye.